beginning of autumn, in my opinion at least, and we have gotten a lot done. We have been working on this house for the last 2 years already. We have been demolishing everything because everything was in such a bad shape. But now it's finally looking like we can only build from this point on. There's nothing to demolish anymore. In the last video I was very shocked of all the progress that we got done when the excavator was here. Yeah, I thought that was a lot, but this is a lot. There's nothing to demolish anymore. So we're gonna build. We're gonna build! And in the end of this video there's a giveaway. I released my second single just in the beginning of August, so it's regarding that. So check in the end of this video if you want to see what's that about. This summer has been something we'll remember for the rest of our lives, because this was the summer when we built the house's foundations for the first and hopefully for the very last time ever. Even though this house needs to be basically completely rebuilt, we're aiming for a traditional look. So when we knew that the foundations had to be fixed, it was clear that we're not going with concrete pillars, but instead we're going with these huge granite rocks. We are trying to save money on everything we do here, but the foundation affects the look of the house so much that I thought there's no other option for these. So in the beginning of my summer vacation we started the biggest renovation this house has seen in a long time. Our trusted lock renovator agreed to come and work with us with the foundations. He was very much needed, as the house needed to be lifted corner by corner, and he knows exactly how the lock frame reacts to everything. At this point, me and my husband were gladly unaware of how big this job actually was going to be. Here we thought that a couple of these loads of gravel would be enough. Boy, we were wrong. After we had lifted and stabilized the log frame enough, the excavator arrived. Our mission was to remove the old rock pillars that had sunk, remove the soil, put in some gravel and then place the new rocks on top, and finally lower the locks on top of the rocks. All of us were working on a job like this for the very first time, so I was surprised of how smoothly everything was going.
Mutta se on niin lähellä ja mä en tiedä pitäisikö sitä vaan ihan työntää nyt. 5 senttiä koko paketti sit takaisin koneeseen. Joo.
Historiallinen hetki. I told everyone that I would go on a full bender if we ever get the first rock installed, but luckily there was no time for that. We had altogether 9 of these rocks to be installed before we could even begin on the other end of the house, which is a whole other story. I tried to make the video as short as possible, because it's not very interesting to watch like 9 same kind of stones go under the house. So so it looks to move on swiftly and kind of easy on this video, but of course that's not the case in reality, as it often is on videos and everything. There's a lot of planning and problems and struggling and so much stress before we could even begin this project. So by the time that I was working on this foundation stone thing, I was starting to feel so tired.
As the days went on and rock after rock were put in their place, I was really starting to feel it in my body and in my mind. I was on my summer vacation but couldn't get a break. And even though everything was moving forward and progressing, I just couldn't feel joy. I was way too tired. So after 9 rocks, shit tons of gravel, the noise, the dirt, the carrying, the chanting, the pushing, the sweating. It was time to take a breather. I thought I'd go deaf by the silence. It felt so good to get off the plot. A small delay on the plot made this trip possible for us, so immediately we decided to go. We borrowed my dad's car, packed everything we had in the fridge, packed the dog, and drove to Lapland.
Oletteko tällä järvellä käynyt? Ei ole käyty aikaisemmin. Ei ole mitään semmoista painetta, että tulee johon. Onko nyt selvä? Pystytkö tätä autoa nukkuu?
Often you don't really realize how much you need to stop until you do. And when you stop, there is this weird noise in the silence that is telling you to hurry, be productive, and get stuff done. And the hardest job is to silence that noise. But sometimes it's so loud that it's easier to come up with something to do, to get your mind off of things.
Aika sakon, koska hänen autonsa moottori jouduttiin vaihtamaan testi- ja rikoskokeen jälkeen.
So we visited a small amethyst mine where you can search your own gemstone and keep it. Even though I felt I had done enough digging for a lifetime already on our plot, this type of digging was something else and so much fun. This weather was not something I had in mind for my only few days of summer vacation, freezing in the rain. But I really didn't mind what kind of a weather it was, because I was just so happy to be off work and off the plot.
Mulla ei taida oikein tykätä tuosta hajusta itse.
For one night, our aimless wandering took a pause as we stopped for this B&B to have a sauna and a bath.
Piki menee kyytiin.
The whole ritual of sauna is something that will always calm me down. But there is definitely something special in the air here in Lapland, 'cause I felt so relaxed.
Ja hei, sä et ollut saunomassa. Me käytiin peseytymässä.
Even though I needed a break from our poor old house on this trip, I couldn't get a break from admiring them somewhere else. There was something I just had to see. This village is a rarity in Finland, as it is the only village in Lapland that was left intact when the whole Lapland was burned down in World War II. Surprisingly, this village was also saved from the rebuilding period, when everything reminding of the struggles of the older days were destroyed. And I'm so glad it was saved, because this village is a time capsule. This village is the only place left that perfectly shows how life looked like in Lapland over 100 years ago. Places like this, with old houses full of history, they just melt my heart.
It's incredible what kind of a difference I felt in me after just like 4 days off or 5 days off the plot. And when we came back from our little getaway, I was so full of life and energy and optimistic and everything. And right when we started, there was a sparrow. There was sudden surprise waiting for us under the house.
During our time off, a lot of stuff had arrived on our plot.
Onko se meidän kaivo? Eikö pumppaa? Paljon kaikkea. Tässä on sitä letkua.
We thought we'd get a smooth start on building the foundations on this end of the house, but ended up getting a surprise instead, which set us back a couple of days. There was an old wooden well partially under our house. Not a good spot to build a concrete foundation on. So we had to do much more digging than I thought we would.
Älä putoa sinne, jos se on upottava. Nyt tää haisee ihan pierulla. Pitäisi olla metallipaljasti nyt, että vois käydä tuon pinon läpi.
But these are just the things that you cannot prepare for in an old house renovation. So as we were once more waiting for the extra load of gravel, we started to work on the sewage. There has never been a sewage system or running water in this house, so there's a lot of changes ahead. So here in this end of the house there's gonna be an extension for a small bathroom. I thought that it would be easier and safer to build it outside of the frame, but I'm not that sure anymore. That is also why we need to do the foundations on this end of the house a little bit different than we did on the rest of the house. But before we could start on that, we of course had to do the water and sewage line. To be honest, I was unaware that we even need to do this right now. So that's how we ended up here building it ourselves. It still feels so surreal seeing us working here on this plot, as we have zero experience of anything like this. But we were so lucky with the guy in the digger, because he was basically telling us all about what to do, making all this possible. I had no idea what goes on underground, and how much work it actually takes before the house is even standing. But I feel like we were luckily unaware, because if I would have known, I don't think we would be here. So right now we're just taking tasks as they come. We get it over with and then move to another one. Finally we get to start with the concrete. I had been waiting for this moment for a long time. On this end of the house we needed to make a huge concrete slab. The slab will be partially under the log frame and also connect the new build that will include our bathroom to the log frame. Having a conjoint concrete footing, the buildings won't be separately moving as the ground force hits. While I was working on this, my husband was working on insulating the water line that now goes across our field. So a lot was happening all of a sudden. Everything was going forward so fast, I was learning new things almost hourly. This taught me that all of the stuff about building that looks so difficult and complicated online, it's actually pretty straightforward. But what you definitely need to have is serious interest towards the matter. And of course the will to learn something new all the time. Whenever I'm making a new video, I notice when something has been really annoying. That's because then I don't film.
Okay.
I just try to survive the job.
Mihin täällä uskot? Ui saatana. En kävele sieltä. Aha, pikkainen uima-allas tuolla.
This time the job turned out to be the underdraining of the house. A task that turned out to be mandatory. So not much to report from the ditch I spent a few days in. It's just not something I want to think back into. The last task on the foundations on this end of the house, which is still a bit unfinished, was to raise these rocks to match with the rest of the house. So if you want to see how to do things the hard way, just keep watching my channel. Sadly, I don't have a nice before and after shot to show you yet, because before I had a chance to film it, the log work already started on the other end of the house. So right now there's only about half of the house left anymore. We'll just have to wait until the next video.
I'm actually feeling like we could be able to pull this off. Like, I haven't been so sure until now, but now that we got like all the critical stuff done and all the things that I was the most worried about, like, I think we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. And yeah, so now the lock guy, the same guy that was in charge of the foundation work that we did, he's continuing with the rest of the lock work on this end of the house. It's easier for him to do it outside the house and then like place them over there where they belong, because there's more room to like work here. So that's why the log frame is here. We're not gonna build another house next to it. Yeah, so he's working on those, and when he's done, the whole log frame is actually done and the foundations are done. So right now me and my husband are building sounds weird to say this, but we're building like the foundation pillars for the walls inside the house at this very moment. So that's still something we need to get done until or before it gets cold, because it includes concrete. But yeah, we're gonna work on that, and after that's done we're gonna start to build foundations for the fireplaces, and then we're gonna move forward to building floors, which is something that I have been looking forward so much. But yeah, that's the situation right now. It's looking good. But now I'm gonna work on this video for a couple of days and do something completely not related to any of this. It's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight, so I'm gonna go and see if I can catch some or film some or at least see some. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's dark.
I know you cannot see anything, but this is the most awesome thing that I have done in a long time.
I can't believe that this is our yard. Hello! It's time for my first ever giveaway. I released my first single, Marble Halls, about 2 months ago. If you haven't heard it, I'll put a link to Spotify down below. Yeah, but the release of my first song was kind of a huge thing for me, and I was so overwhelmed by all the support and kindness that I got from all of my family members and friends and strangers and everybody, that I thought that now it's my time to put something nice out there in the universe. So I made this print. I'll be giving away 1 t-shirt with a sticker and 1 hoodie with a sticker. So if you would like to have one of these, just comment anything here down below this video on YouTube, and that's it. If you want to subscribe on YouTube or follow me on Instagram, that is of course helpful to spread my work, but that is by no means mandatory because I don't like to force my stuff on anybody. I also have my spread shop now, so if you want to buy these, I'll put a link down below in the description. Thank you to anybody watching my stuff or listening to my songs. I'm doing all of this just out of joy and to cope with the world, so if anybody relates to anything or finds any happiness in any of this, I'm happy. So thank you and goodbye.